Hello and welcome to the Business Octopus, where we talk about all things sales, marketing, and technology. I am Avon Collis, CRM and Marketing Automation Specialist at Relevate and all-around good guy. And today I'm joined by the wonderful Kat Sorbello from The Stellar Way, here to talk about the top mistakes of course design and how to avoid it. Welcome, Kat. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome. How are you?
Good, good. Now, you've had a bit of an interesting time. You're over in Chile, aren't you?
I am. I am based in Chile.
So that was COVID forced?
To stay, yes, it was COVID forced.
Yeah, right. So you went voluntarily and then you got stuck there because of COVID. And
correct.
You've since published a book. You've since started working with some academic groups in the online training. That's all very interesting stuff. How's that been?
It has been amazing to be able to shift the abilities that we've had and find different ways of collaborating, being able to connect with people internationally, and then publishing a book all amidst a pandemic has been incredible.
But not only publishing a book, co-publishing an academic textbook and translating from Spanish to English. I think that is a feat in itself that deserves a bit of an ovation. So well done there.
Thank you.
And you've had quite a few years experience in building courses, and in fact now you do coaching people on how to build their own online courses.
Correct. Yes.
So why have a course, and is it that hard to do?
Great question. Having a course, so let's start with the first part. Why have a course depends on your business structure. Lots of people have it, whether it might be a evergreen course, that's something that is just there to be able to further support your clients. You might be in a SaaS company, so a software as a service, where having that course can help those clients that don't need as much hand holding. So then your time, your one-on-one time, is more valuable to their needs, where you can jump in and really focus on their needs rather than just going through repetitive stuff. So having a course is really, really useful for those repetitive things that can be done in someone's own time, a self-paced course. Not to say that all courses should be self-paced.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that pain, with back-to-back meetings, and I'm a finite resource. I can only do so many one-to-one or one to a few meetings. So being able to have basically bottle myself, my knowledge, my experience into something and allow someone to do it in their own time, like there's, kid pickups, there's, I have this annoying habit of needing to sleep every so often. So we have a very limited capacity. So I think that's very good that it does expand that. But quite often you find so many people that'll start a course but not quite finish, or that they don't get the point, or maybe everyone wants to make $1 million from their course. What's your thoughts around that?
They're all very different viewpoints. So my thoughts around that is, well, let's go to the starting but not finishing. Something that we see quite often that happen, that a client would get very excited about a new course, maybe because of the copy that has been done to sell that course. And then when they jump in to do the course, it doesn't actually meet their needs. So they don't want to complete any further. From the other end of that, the person that has the desire to make $1 million through courses, while it is possible, I'm not saying that it's not possible, again, it all depends on that business structure. So you might have businesses that's all that they do sell, courses, that they're taking groups of people, massive groups of people through courses. But that's their business structure, right? That's all that they do.
I think, for me, I've tried to replace some things that I'm already doing, so that it reduces my time, basically, like you said, repeating myself. And I guess, like, sometimes people say, all right, I'm going to build this monster of a course, like a behemoth giant thing. And they go, all right, well, this is going to take 30 hours. And then they change their mind on the structure and the layout halfway through. And then they get a little bit lost. And I can really understand how annoying that is. And I think that, being able to add the course thing, like you said, I don't charge any extra or marginal extra money for it, but that's in replacement of what would otherwise be my hours. So the combined effect is actually cheaper for the client, and they get a better income. So
exactly.
it's a supplement, because I tell them once and they go, oh, this is all great stuff, and they're stuck on their notes that they scribble down, and then they go and that's it. They like, but you can pause, rewind, go back, go forward. You know, I think there's a lot of value there.
Exactly.
So what makes a good course?
As you said, you've identified a value within your business on how you can better support your clients. So what makes your courses great is how you are being able to transform your clients even further, how you're able to support them in solving a business problem, or any problem for that matter, anyone that's creating courses. What makes a good course is that your course is going to be solving someone's current issue. It's going to be taking them through several steps. I would recommend between 3 to 5 learning outcomes to help them reach one overall goal. And what makes that course even better is when it's exactly focused on their needs. So as you just explained, you know, some of your clients want to be able to go and have a look at or use a self-paced course. So they want to go back and forth through information rather than writing it all down. Some don't. Some need that hand-holding. Some don't want to be going through a course and finding that information. They want to ask questions and have you there to tell them exactly what to do. And you knowing your clients and you knowing what they want and that the course is useful, that's what's going to make a course successful. Building a course based on what you think and feel without actually including your client, that's when we start to have these drop-offs where clients begin a course, but then they don't continue because it's not what they need. It's not what they want. It is not what is going to help them succeed.
Yeah, I know sort of like from a sales perspective, you know, you've got to prove the model 3 times. So if you can sell something 3 times, there's people that actually want it, and not, you know, your friends and family. They need to be actual real customers that you've reached out and collaborated with. The other thing, I guess, is like when I create content for myself to basically replace what I'm already doing, just to sort of leverage my time a bit, I find that you know, it's something that is already wanted by the client or already needed, and maybe there's some base knowledge that, you know, they need to have to be ready to work with me. So say, for example, in the CRM game, you know, if people don't know what an entity relationship diagram is, I've got a video on it and I send them that beforehand and then go, right, let's work through what kind of information do you need to store about who, what are the relationships between them? And, you know, that shortcuts my time and we get better, we get closer to value quicker. So they see my time as more effective. And sorry, I'm going to go on a little rant here and say one more thing, is that I think that if you don't know how to productize your service, it's the best way to try and replace yourself with a course. So that, you know, at the moment I've got something where I've just got a few videos I send people, but I might be able to package that into a downsell. So if they can't afford to work with me, or they don't want to, you know, invest too much money there, or they want, you know, they're very self-driven, they want to just drive themselves towards it. You know, that's my perspective. By no means a course specialist, but just someone who's in the trenches trying to handle how little time I have. So what are the top 3 mistakes that most course designers make, and how would you avoid them?
Good question. Well, I have recently just done an ebook on the 10 course design mistakes. And these are things that I've seen over the past decade of working within the learning and development industry. So I want to share the top 3 with you. Like you said, the question, what is the top 3? So the first one that I see happen so often, which I think you sort of got into that earlier, is that someone has this fantastic course idea and they say, this is going to be fantastic, this is exactly what's needed, and then they start designing it, and they spend hours and hours and hours on designing, redeveloping, and ended up designing this mammoth of a course that can sometimes just be this regurgitation of knowledge. And what is happening at this stage, the effects of this is, one, you're spending so much time in the design phase, because you didn't spend any time in the planning phase. So there's 3 steps to designing courses, 3 major steps. That is planning, designing, and then monitoring the course. So by jumping from this idea to the design, you have no idea who your clients are, what they need, what their goals are, what ways they best learn. Your clients might want to have demonstration videos and you just go explain it all in text, right? Or in help guides that say step 1, step 2, step 3, and that's not useful for your clients. So by jumping straight to that course design, what I see a lot is that the time is wasted in the actual course design part, and then when you go to launch, no one wants the course. No one's completing the course because you haven't done that vital planning phase. The second major mistake I see is that people choose a platform, they jump around, they ask people, what's the best learning management system, or what's the best course platform that I can use? And I always reply with a question and say, well, what do you need? What I see is that people just choose a platform because someone said this is really, really great. But you need to know what
software, by the way, that's not just learning management system. Yeah.
Exactly. And you need to know what you need that system to do. And so what I ask is, what do you need and what do your clients need? Do your clients need to be able to download material? Do they need to upload material? What type of data do you want to see? Do you want to have access to particular progress reports? Do you want to be able to have videos that are embedded? Do you want to be able to have activities that the students and your clients can do a fill in the gap activity or a hotspot activity where it's a picture and they click on spots in it? All of these come from your planning. Once you know what your course plan is, once you know what that lesson outline is going to look like, you know what you needed from the system. Then you can do your research on what's the best.
Yeah.
And the third mistake I want to share with you is when you're jumping into lesson design without doing a learner persona. So I want to explain this one a little bit too. And it comes back to our planning phase as well. So many people who have a business would have done some type of analysis on who their ideal client are or clients are. And that is, who are they? What are their challenges? What are their problems? What obstacles are they facing? How can you help them? What type of support are they looking for? These type of analysis. And you do the same to build a learner persona. When you say, who are my learners? How do they best learn? How are they motivated to learn? What do they want from the course? What current obstacles are they facing? And the huge one that gets missed a lot is a course going to solve their problem? Right? Maybe it's something else that's going to solve their problem. That's not a course at all. And once you have this learner persona, you can then create a course for them. Rather than what I see happen a lot is a course creator creates a course on what they like. I love to watch videos, so I'm going to create a course filled with video. But that's not what your learners want. Yeah.
I think that, you know, from me, from like a time perspective, I like to try and do things, if I can kill 2, 3, 4, 20 birds with one stone, because I love automation, I'll do it. So, you know, a client asked me, how do I do list emails out of Salesforce? So I recorded a video on it, but that gave me an opportunity to create content for the person who asked the question, and I sent the video back to them immediately. It went onto YouTube. Actually, they got the YouTube link and then had I asked them to subscribe. And then I put that into a course. So, so I've been able to use one actual live question and you know, from my industry and creating, you know, knowledge management articles and you know, building like a contact service support center, you do that from actual customer questions. Is that something that would help course creators identify client needs or course needs?
Yeah, absolutely. The questions that are coming in to you as the owner, if these questions are repetitively coming through and you're finding that most of your clients have this same problem, then you can start to build courses and start building mini courses to solve that problem. That's something that's quite easy for someone to go through in a mini course.
Yeah.
But again, go back to your business and if your clients need that. For example, most of my clients don't want to go through a course to learn how to build a course. They want more audit-based kind of not hand-holding, but they want me to be there to bounce ideas off me and have personalized help. Going through yet again another course is not what they want. From the research that I've done from the existing clients and future clients.
Yeah. And I think, you know, from a copywriting perspective, I've spoken to a number of people, you know, they might have a doctorate and they're a professional in their field, but maybe the course that they're using, the language is far too complex and it doesn't meet their target market. So you mentioned the target market was important, and then you mentioned that you know, being able to break it down how they want to hear it is also really important. I know that when I'm trying to explain something to someone, I really need to think about how do they understand it. I virtually need to come up with a user story. And if anyone's done software development, you create a user story, which is, I want the button to do this so that I can do that. It's not, okay, the API and the trigger and the this and then the that. Does that apply to course design as well?
Yes, absolutely. And that is one of the other mistakes as well, is not having a learning journey. So when we're creating our course plan, we then start to create storyboards, and I would literally get post-it notes or a whiteboard, or I've used windows in boardrooms that are meters and meters long, where I have all my ideas, they're all in the course plan, and now I'm seeing how does it work for the student. When they're moving from A to B to C, what are they actually moving through, and how am I scaffolding that education? How are we taking little bits of pieces and we're actually building on top of each one? So when they go to do the course, we're not confusing them. We're not creating this cognitive overload that we're giving them so much that they walk away saying, I didn't learn a thing. There was so much in there. It was so complex that I'm walking away with nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So having that journey where we can say, hang on a second, this is a bit huge. This should be a bundle of courses as opposed to one course. Or wait a second, this actual lesson has nothing to do with my course goal. So it actually doesn't have to be in this course. Maybe it's additional resource that they can have a look at if they want to. But just because I love this area doesn't mean that my clients need it in the course. So absolutely.
Yeah, and I think trying to understand their perspective, like I know things that I know because I just know them, but like in my life history, my life experience, my you know, education and training that I've done up to this point. So for me, it's like oh well, you know, it just is, you know, like it's common sense, but it's actually not that common in most places. I would imagine that, you know, someone that comes from a completely different walk of life, maybe just didn't experience the same things, and they know just as much. And I almost feel like everyone has the same level of intelligence. It's just distributed in different areas. And so it might be physical intelligence in terms of, you know, having good tactile skills and being able to, you know, quickly tie knots and things like that. Or it might be academic experience, or it might be something else. And so how do you cross across those boundaries when people, you know, like you said, learn differently, they think differently, and, you know, have different understandings?
It all comes over time, right? So one way that I do like to manage that is at the beginning of the courses, I do run a survey. And that survey talks about, well, what's your goals? What are you looking to achieve? What do you know about this? What have you tried so far? What haven't you tried? What do you like? What don't you like? And we're collecting that data about our clients so that then during the course, I can quickly adapt based on them. And if we're always listening for feedback, feedback comes to us in so many different forms. Someone not replying to your follow-up emails is feedback. Someone not progressing through a course is feedback. It's not direct feedback, it's indirect feedback. That then helps you to understand, okay, well, no one finished watching this video on, you know, lesson 14, for example. Is it too long? Is there a problem? How can I adapt it? So listening for that feedback constantly helps you to create revisions for your course and modifications. It's not something you're going to achieve in your first launch. Your first launch is the absolute bare minimum, your beta launch. And over time, if you're constantly listening for these little cues, then you're able to adapt to them each time.
Yeah, and I think because it's always difficult to figure out what level to come in on. So with a basic is the basic to basic for everybody. Do you have to do 3 versions, the basic, intermediate, advanced? And I think that just becomes, from the sales side, becomes that product ascension model. So maybe they buy version 1, go, ooh, that was all right, I'll do version 2, version 3 as they progress. And then eventually they roll into doing a full consultation with you or running a program with you or something like that. And I think from the pricing perspective, and it's different for everybody, but I know from a sales psychology perspective, people don't value what they don't pay for. So potentially you might just say, even if you think it's nothing, it's really basic. For me personally, I'd probably try and say, all right, well, you'll pay $20 for it, just some transactional value. And then you'll be my guinea pig and I'll give you super extra time and I'll understand everything that you do like and don't have, and then put that into it. Does that sound idea, or you have different thoughts on that?
No, I think it's a great idea. And off the top of my head, the studies, I'm not sure of the names of the studies of the links that I can direct you to, but studies have shown that when there is a price point associated to a course, completion rates do go up. And when there's no price point, there's no it's like not having an end date to something, right? Someone is not invested.
Yeah.
Or I guess it builds up more of that investment so that the completion rates do increase. And so, yeah, if you were to say, hey, I'm doing this as a beta version, I'm going to give it to you as a discounted rate. Like, come on board now, it's this first version, it's going to be discounted, and you can help me make it better for future versions. One of the adult learning theories is involving our clients, involving adults in the course creation, because they can then look at it in the future and say, hey, I helped Avon create that. I was part of that creation. And that's another motivational aspect to tap into as well, is how can we involve our clients in the creation of our courses, which is just like you've said, do it at a low rate, get testimonials, and also make them very aware that this is their first trial so that you collect that feedback to make it better for the future.
And I think you're giving them that like chaperoned experience, they'll feel a little bit more valued anyway. So that's fantastic.
Exactly.
So obviously we've scratched on probably more than your top 3, but there's we're really only picking the surface here. And you mentioned that you've got checklists and guides and things that basically shortcut your learning if you're going to do this. So it's been really great having you on today. And if you're listening and you want to get info on the top 10 course design mistakes, you can get Kat's ebook on thestellarway.com. And I'm also going to link the website and her LinkedIn profile in the comments of this episode. So thank you very much for coming, Kat. It's been great listening to your experience.
Thank you very much for having me.
No worries. And thank you, listeners. If you like this podcast, if you have any questions or you'd like to be on the show, please reach out at relevate.com.au and fill out the contact form. Otherwise, thank you very much. It's been great, and take care. You can learn more about implementing scalable systems in your business with our book, The Business Octopus, where you can learn how to give your business a brain and teach it to grow itself. You can get your copy from relevate.com.au/octopus. You can also find answers and ask questions in our online community at support.relevate.com.au.